The Tories have sunk to a record low in the polls for a second consecutive month, with their measly vote share of just 19% being the worst they've registered in 45 years. It's bad news for Rishi Sunak too, with his personal approval ratings at the worst level in the history of Ipsos polling. That's as low as John Major in 1994 and one Jeremy Corbyn in 2019. And with Reform UK just 6 points behind the Tories and snapping at Sunak's heels, their founder, Nigel Farage, believes it's curtains for the Conservatives at the next election.
I don't believe it's really about Rishi Sunak. I think if Winston Churchill came back and led the Conservative Party, it wouldn't really help their ratings very much. My belief is it's the Conservative brand that's really taking the hit. I believe that the Tory brand is absolutely in the bin. I don't think Rishi can recover. But tell me, am I wrong?
Tory MP Dame Andrea Jenkyns joins me now. Good evening, Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello,
is your
Ben.
party
Good to see
doomed
you.
at the election, or is there any way back? Is Nigel right that even Sir Winston Churchill couldn't save you?
Look, I like and respect Nigel, and I'd love to have seen him in the Lords for what he did fighting for Brexit. But actually, it's not as simple as that. I mean, on the doorstep, I'm finding actually an electorate who's angry. Many voted Conservative for the first time in 2019. They lent their vote. They voted for Boris. They voted for Brexit. And really, they feel that they haven't seen the results that they wanted. And obviously, I empathise with that. But if we look at the Ashcroft polling, there's not actually a good appetite for Starmer. And I'm finding this on the doorstep, Ben. You know, people are saying to me they don't want to vote for Labour, but give me a reason to vote Conservative.
Well, I mean, you'd say a lot of the Tory votes are going to Reform. I mean, the Labour polling isn't really up from the Corbyn era, is it? So what do the Tories do about Reform? Because in actual fact, if you're asking me, I don't think they particularly care that much about winning seats. I think they just want to obliterate the Tories.
Well, I mean, look, Richard Tyser said that, and, you know, other of their members have also said that. But, I mean, I think it's very sad because I think, you know, the right should be coming together, true Conservatives should be coming together. Now, what I think we need is, yes, well, first of all, I don't think it's over, but I am an optimist anyway. I just think we need common sense conservatism. I mean, you know, we must be tough on crime. We don't want this two-tier policing system. We want to be controlling our borders. We want to be low-tax conservatives, small state conservatives, and actually, it's actually not just about economics, that's a big part to play, but this whole wokeism and silencing of common sense has got to stop. And I believe that the British public, and it's progressed at such a rate that the British public, they want a bold, radical, unapologetic government who actually is proud to be British and call out this nonsense. That's what I think people need, Ben.
See, Andrea, you talk sense, you talk common sense, and you talk about conservative values, which is great, but in actual fact, the truth is, no offence, your party's riddled with Lib Dems in disguise. So you get it. You get it. Are you not tempted to maybe have a conversation with Richard Tice? Has that happened yet? Has he approached you?
Look, I've known Richard, Nigel, you know, all of them for years. I mean, I was there fighting for Brexit, and back in Sunderland on the Leave Means Leave, I went to their conferences, spoke at their conferences. Leave Means Leave, I was walking in Sunderland with them to try and, you know, Theresa May's awful deals, stand up for Brexit. So these are people I know and who are friends. But I feel very saddened about this wanting to destroy. I don't like the language wanting to destroy. Look, we're all Conservatives. Look, let's get our act together and actually stop this socialist Starmer government who will destroy our country. And beyond recognition, you know, people think that there's not much difference between Conservative and Labour at the moment, but just wait to see if they get in power, then people will remember.
All right, well, look, I admire your loyalty. Can I just show you a quick clip from Rishi Sunak yesterday talking about your colleague Liz Truss? Take a look at this.
Mr. Speaker, when my predecessor was running for leader, to use his words, I did have the stomach to argue out loud about her economic policies, had the conviction to say that they were wrong.
What do you make of Liz Truss and her recent resurgence?
Yeah, I mean, I like Liz, and she's actually been campaigning for me and helping me, you know, raise funds for my seat right since I was first a candidate in 2013, and I've met her mum because she was from Leeds, etc. I like Liz, and she's standing up for true conservatism. I was very disappointed in our Prime Minister actually playing to Labour's rhetoric there and, attacking Liz. We should have been attacking Starmer more as Prime Minister. I know, how can I talk as somebody who's very critical, but I'm not the Prime Minister. So I was very saddened. I was shaking my head in the chamber when I did hear that.
Is there a future for Liz in the party? Do you think if and when you lose the election, she can maybe, get back on side with the new leader, whoever that may be?
Ben, I'd bring her back in the cabinet. Look, we've got to unite as a party. I'd bring Boris back. Let's all get together and let's fight these socialists and let's stop them getting into government.
Well, Andrea, some would argue... Sorry to interject. Some would argue that most of your party are the socialists, and that's the problem. But we're going to move on to a slightly different story. I don't know if you saw earlier, Andrea, there were shocking scenes in New York earlier today when a man set himself on fire outside the Manhattan courthouse where Donald Trump is currently on trial in that hush money case. There was a video doing the rounds online. Being honest, it's far too graphic to show on TV, but here's some pictures from the aftermath. The man fell to the ground motionless before being rushed away by medics. The tensions in the US are quite clearly running high. I just want to get your thoughts on Donald Trump. If and when he wins the election over there, what would that mean for Britain? And how would Labour, if they got in, bearing in mind all the stuff they've said about Donald Trump in recent years, David Lammy, Sir Keir Starmer and, the rest of them, how would Labour navigate that relationship with President Trump?
I mean, look, Lammy's been trying to roll back on that this week, hasn't he? These people, I call Starmer no scruples Starmer. They will sell their soul to get into power. Now, look, Donald Trump's straight talking. He could be a Yorkshireman. And he's got a long memory and he will not tolerate people speaking about him in that way. So I think the waters are going to be very choppy between the US and Britain if Labour are in power and Trump's in power. It'd be far better if it was Trump and a true Conservative government.
But the argument is, Andrea, that Trump is, absolutely riddled with court cases. This is the first criminal one. And, do you really want a potential criminal in the White House?
No, I think, look, let it play out. Let's see what happens to these court cases. But look at Biden. They cannot have Biden in again. I mean, he can barely stand, can he, at times?
Yeah.
So I don't want to see Biden in. That's for definite.
OK. And also, just very quickly, there was whispers that Nigel Farage may, if Trump did win, may become sort of, like a trade envoy or an ambassador from the US to Britain. Do you think that's likely at all?
I think it's more likely if we had a Conservative government than a Labour government. But I can definitely see Nigel in the White House if Trump's there. I can definitely see him as at least a political advisor or some significant role. And good on him. I hope he does. And
actually, Liz Truss was urging Nigel, I think it was this week, to join the Tories if and when you're wiped out and you're rebuilding. What would you make of that? Would you welcome him in the party?
Of course I would. For years I've been saying that. For years I've been saying, as I said at the beginning of the show, that he belongs in the Lords. Yeah. No, it's time that, the right, all conservative-leaning people, we come together now. It is time.
All right. Dame Andrea Jenkyns, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, same to you.